You are listening to Peak One Sports.
Welcome to the Bungalow Fight Show. Back together again.
Yep.
Alexis held it down last week, did the episode solo. I mean, I did my little intros and outros, but
It was a collective effort.
Yeah, but you put in most of the work, so but we're back. We're back. We're back with a big fight card this week. I had my graphics all messed up, but before we get into anything else, this episode, like all the other episodes of this show and all the other shows we produce here in the Bungalow, are brought to you by Betalytics. Go to Betalytics.com, promo code PEAK1, and get 25% off profile. And you can get access to all of their analytics, all the stats, all the stuff. They can even put together parlays for you. They do all kinds of stuff over there that can help you make better, smarter bets. Don't bet with your gut like me. I told Alexis last week, good thing I lost all my money on the UFC on Saturday because I didn't have any money to lose on football the next day. So, but we're going to turn it all around. We're turning it all around this week. And I'm going to win on Saturday on the UFC, and then I'm going to use Betalytics to make some football bets on Sunday, and we're going to win some money. And you know what? If I got any money left over after Sunday, for the first time ever, I'm going to bet on hockey. I've never bet on hockey before, but I'm paying attention to the, I always pay attention to hockey, mostly the Sharks, but because of the doing sports shows now and stuff, I'm making sure that I pay attention league-wide as much as I possibly can. So I'm going to bet on some hockey, and I'm definitely not going to bet on the Sharks because that's just a losing effort most likely. But I'm going to use Betalytics. I'm not going to make a single hockey bet that isn't straight from Betalytics. So I will have firsthand evidence.
Yeah. I took a bunch of overs last season, and that actually managed me pretty well.
On hockey?
Overs, yeah.
Okay.
So it was always Rangers and over.
Well, the thing is, because on this week's episode, the inaugural episode of the Bungalow Hockey Show, Daniel and I talked a little bit about it's been like a 5-year kind of effort by the NHL and different rules and things, making goalie pads smaller, things like that, to get higher scoring games. And I think that maybe, Vegas, the odds, whatever you want to call it, hockey minds still haven't really caught up to it. So I think betting the over right now is a good deal on hockey because it's still considered a low-scoring type of game, but they're scoring a lot more goals than normal. So that's probably a good play. But I'll be.
It's like over 3, over 4.
Right. You don't want to get crazy.
But we've been seeing game scores like 8.
Yeah, 8 goals in a game. Yeah, it's getting pretty crazy. But go to Betalytics and get all your info from them and make some smarter bets. We're also brought to you by League Swipe. If you're a fantasy hockey commissioner, if you're a fantasy football commissioner, if you're coming up, we got fantasy basketball, and you want a little bit of help to keep your stuff more organized. You got big leagues, a lot of members, a lot of money, a lot of rules, a lot of stuff going around, and you need help organizing it all. You need help collecting money. Go to League Swipe if you're a commissioner of a fantasy league. And see what they have. See what they got there that can help you out. And we've had some testimonials from some people that have used them and have had a good experience. So they're back supporting the Bungalow and all our shows here. So go support them. At least go check them out and see what they have to offer. LeagueSwipe.com. Also, go to bonfire.com/store/Peak1Sports and cop a Bungalow Fight Show tee. Go cop one. You owe it to yourself. Treat yourself to a Bungalow Fight Show t-shirt. Or any other shows on this network or any of the other shirts I decide to put up there at any given moment. If I think of something I'll make it and I'll put it up there. So just go check it out. See if anything you like.
It's a nice shirt, by the way.
What's that?
The material for the shirts are really nice.
Yeah,
It's like something you go like to a concert and get like a
exactly. It's not like super high end. I'm not a huge fan of the big thick shirts. You know what I mean?
No.
That people wear these days. I like not a super paper thin material, but like I'm a concert tee guy. You're right. That's a perfect example. It's like it's a merch shirt. You know what I mean? It's not the best quality. It's not the worst quality. It's right in the middle. But we got everything Peak One Sports related is on there. I still I got to go put up the Bungalow Hockey Show shirt up there, but everything, coffee cups, shirts, hoodies, and you know what? If you go to that store and you see something you like, a shirt you like, a logo, something you like on there, and it is only in t-shirt form and you'd like it in a hoodie, if you'd like it in anything, drop us a line. I can change it at any given moment. All the stuff is uploaded. I just, it's just when I go and I put things up there, t-shirts are the things that go the fastest. So it's just, make a t-shirt. And the other ones, it's like, if I want it, I'll make it. So, but like if you're interested in any of the merch on there and you don't see what you like, drop us a line and I'll take care of that for you. But yeah, bonfire.com/store/Peak1Sports. All right, dude, Alexis, steroids are officially okay in the UFC again. Yay!
Not so much. I don't know if did you actually like watch the press conference with Jeff Nowitzki and Hunter?
I watched like highlights of it. I didn't watch the entire thing, or I saw clips of it, I should say.
Well, so I mean, obviously you and I think we can both agree on that we didn't like the way USADA would wake up fighters.
Well, okay, so for any casuals out there or anybody who's not in the know with UFC right now, USADA, the United States Anti-Doping Association, has been in charge of the drug testing for the UFC for the past, 6 years, maybe more now? I don't know.
I think longer.
Going on almost a decade.
Yeah, USADA dates back to when I was doing a podcast, the MMA podcast with Carl.
Right, so we're going on a decade now. And they've had a big falling out, mostly regarding everybody's favorite UFC fighter, or UFC. We'll call him a UFC entertainer because he hasn't really fought that much. Conor McGregor, and his is he fighting? Is he not? Is he in the testing pool? Is he not? USADA has a rule of you got to be in the testing pool for 6 months before you're allowed to fight. He was fighting against having to do that, blah, blah, blah. Who knows what happened behind closed doors. USADA came out and made some kind of statement. Dana White didn't like it. The UFC has terminated, as of the contract being up in December, January or whatever, at the beginning of the year, the UFC and USADA will no longer be together. The new organization is the one that does basketball and football and a lot of your other major sports. That's going to kind of take over.
World.
It's not.
Wide.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, back to what you were saying. The way USADA kind of ran their testing was very unfair to the fighters, I think. Yeah. Just as far as tracking their whereabouts, having to let them know when you're going on vacation, showing up at inopportune times of the day or night, showing up when you're in a training camp trying to get some sleep, showing up at 5:30 in the morning, all these just weird things that they would do. Because
of course, if you're going to be taking steroids, you're going to be taking it at 5 in the morning, right?
Yeah. A lot of it seemed like a weird power trip thing by the guys who were in charge of taking the piss. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, it's not happening anymore. Which obviously I think drug testing is a good thing in fighting sports, especially. I think across all sports, unless in a sport where you're beating the shit out of each other, I think it's more important necessarily than in other, ball sports or whatever. But.
Yeah. I mean, like USADA did bring it did clean up the sport a lot. Like and their aggressive testing did help a lot. But regardless of the UFC can turn around and be like, we're gonna wake you up at 3 a.m. still, regardless, right?
Sure.
And that's fine. But I think the biggest thing, and I think what looking back and after listening to that press conference, is the fact that like USADA handled their when someone tested, like they alerted their like media team, like out, like,
right.
oh, like the indicator turned green, he tested positive, and everybody's like, for what? And they're like, you won't know until 4 months from now.
Yeah,
but he tested positive.
Yeah,
right.
We found paprika in his piss. Like, I don't
know. I don't know. It turned green. We have to send it to the lab to really see what's going on.
Right. A lot of shitty stuff like that.
And I think I like to reference John Jones. Like, if more of the information was led to us in the beginning, like every time he popped, like if it was a tainted supplement,
right?
Because like even now looking back at it, like USADA alerted their media team. Their media team shot out that he tested positive, and then there was like a whole media storm. All the MMA networks and all that stuff, like he tested, he's roids, he's dirty, this and that. And then it was Jeff Novitzky and Dana White in like press conferences talking about picograms,
right?
Right. I don't know about microdosing steroids to like get an edge is like beneficial or something like that, but I felt that in itself could have been handled a lot better, and it could
of course. Well, and just for even lesser known fighters getting a bad rub and getting kind of a black mark on their record when it was a tainted supplement, or when it was something that was negligible, or something that was just like ended up not being that big of a deal, but then all anybody remembers is the press release of this guy tested positive for a banned substance. And I didn't like that either, because in a world where everything's made in China, whether it's your supplements or anything you buy off Amazon, like shit is mixed together in random factories and random places. So if you don't believe in tainted supplements, you're a moron. That can happen very easily.
Our food is tainted.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, you go get a Little Caesars pizza, you'll test positive on a USADA test. Like, it's so. And then also, obviously, like Nowitzki coming. It's been a while now that he's been part of the UFC. As far the UFC has been giving him a paycheck, but that guy is kind of across the board the guy, you know what I mean, for drug testing and trying to keep things above board. So if there's somebody that you're going to want to trust, like I trust that guy's judgment as far as drug testing is concerned. You know what I mean? So I think we're on to bigger and better things. I think we're going to have a lot less of those this guy tested positive, and then 6 months later, oh yeah, it was kangaroo meat or whatever.
And honestly, like I remember, because I mentioned first, like USADA entering UFC dated back to like when we were doing like Wisecast,
right?
I remember we were talking about USADA, and they said like there's a list of banned supplements like that are known tainted. I remember going through that list. A was in the 10,000s. Right. There was no way I could have gone through any of that to make like a valid thing. Like, oh, you can take this supplement, because it looked like everything was on that.
Exactly. So it's just it's very. I remember that episode you guys did where it's just. So anyways, long story short, we'll see what comes out of this, but I think it's a better deal. I think it's going to be a better deal for the fighters, obviously, which is what we care about on that end. We want to keep the sport clean. But also, there's guys out there who are notoriously clean fighters that were notoriously the most tested of all the fighters. You know what I mean? It's like, at a certain point, it got to be like, oh, this person's really good. We're going to test them 10 million times because they must be on steroids because they're good. Like, or whatever. This guy's ripped all the time. He must be on steroids. Let's test him 17 fucking times. Like, or Holly Holm. Holly Holm's like one of the most tested fighters in USADA history, and she's the last person I would think would be on steroids. You know what I mean? Like, So it's just little things like that where it's just like, oh, she's a manly looking woman.
Yeah, she's like, they're like Holly Holm's like in her 40s, and she's still top.
Oh, she must be dirty. So, and if you go and you look at some of the
Chris
most
Cyborg is a different story.
Right, but that's the thing is she's not on the list of most tested. Like if you go look at the most tested UFC USADA tested fighters, it's not necessarily the ones at the top of the game. It's the ones that maybe just eyeball test, use that term. Like it's like the old eyeball test of like, but it's like, no, dude, it's 2023. Training science, diet science, nutrition, all that stuff is so high tech now, and the way these fighters train, you can be a beast into your 40s. You can look like a fucking action figure 365 days a year, in and out of training camp. It's because of how these fighters are training, what their nutrition is, and different stuff like that. You know what I mean? So it's like, to use the old, back in the Pride days, you could use the eyeball test. You know what I mean? Because you got Fedor on one hand and Wanderlei Silva on the other hand, and it's like, okay. But anyways, so that's kind of the big news. The other big news from the last couple weeks, we're going to talk about it because it's involved in this fight card that we're about to talk about, which is UFC 294 coming up this Saturday from the UAE, dude, Fight Island, back on Fight Island. We've had a string of fight nights, been some decent fight cards. Don't get me wrong. But we've got a big-time pay-per-view, and there's nothing better than a big-time UFC pay-per-view. And this one, with all the shakeups that have happened, we may have ended up with better fights. I'm not going to lie.
Dude, honestly, it's so much better.
Like, sometimes you get these shakeups and these fight mix-ups where you end up with, it's kind of like what do you call it? It's just like, okay, well, at least we're still getting the pay-per-view. At least we're still getting a title fight. But no. The replacement fighters for the fighters that fell out, if not match, but no, just better on both hands, I think. I think just
makes it a lot more interesting.
Exactly, if nothing else. Obviously, it was supposed to be the rematch of Islam Makhachev versus Charles Oliveira for the lightweight title. Which was highly anticipated. Usually if you're going, it's a rematch. Oliveira lost the first time, but Oliveira, obviously, same guy, back on a tear again. We wanted to see that fight again. I do. I wasn't not wanting to see that rematch. Like, I wanted to see it.
Yeah.
But
I wanted to see it too.
Charles fell out. So what do we get? Another rematch, and an even more interesting one, because one that a lot of people think should have gone the other way the first time, and that is champ versus champ, Alexander Volkanovski going up to lightweight, this time on 10 days notice to rematch Islam Makhachev from a fight, like I said, that if you went off straight striking numbers, Volkanovski mopped the floor with him, but Makhachev, kind of won the grappling match and blah, blah, blah. But it was a very controversial decision. And we get to see it again, and I'm so goddamn excited about that.
Dude, I'm so excited. I just wanted to point out there, you don't see boxing champions step in on 10 days.
Hell
notice.
No. And it's that would be an easier sport to step in on 10 days notice.
Yeah.
Volkanovski is an absolute animal for stepping. This isn't just 10 days notice. This is 10 days notice against Makhachev. This is insane that he's doing it, but he's always said he's a fucking gamer. He's ready to fight at all times, and he's proving that right now. You know what I mean? Because if he truly wasn't ready for this fight, he wouldn't take it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just wouldn't, because it would just be he could get this rematch even if Makhachev fought Oliveira or somebody else, kept the belt. He could still get this rematch, you know what I mean, on a full fight camp. So the fact that he's taking it on 10 days means that he's fucking ready. And I'm excited to see it.
That fight with Ilia Topuria, like, I think in January.
Right.
It's freaking nuts, dude.
Right, dude. So it's fantastic. The other fight, the co-main event, was going to be Hamzat Chimaev versus Paulo Costa, and of course Paulo Costa pulled out again. Alexis and I don't know if we ever brought it up on the show over the last few weeks, but we definitely brought it up in our text threads of just he's pulling out, and then then you see pictures of him in a hospital bed, and then you see pictures of an elbow, and then you see this, that, and he pulled out. Paulo Costa is a mental case. He's a fucking mental case, that guy. and he's not fighting again. But because of that, we get to see the middleweight debut of Kamaru Usman against possibly the most feared middleweight, Khamzat Chimaev. And it's so exciting, dude. It's so exciting. And for all the reasons that it is exciting, it is obviously going to be Khamzat's toughest test yet, right? It's against the guy who can wrestle with him. You know what I mean? Yeah. Against the guy who can definitely strike with him too. Former champ, but also a guy who dominated Sean Strickland, albeit in the welterweight division. But Usman already beat Sean Strickland, and this fight is basically for a chance to fight Sean Strickland for the title. So that makes it even more exciting, because if Usman can pull this off, he can become the middleweight champion. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's very true. Yeah,
I'm psyched. This card is legit.
This is awesome.
Let's get it. Let's get into it. Let's go.
I also like to mention it's a 7 a.m. start.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point for everybody out there who thinks they can tune in on Saturday evening. You cannot. You need to get up early for this bad boy, and trust me, I will be up at 7 a.m. because all these prelims are pretty fire, too. Let's get into it, man. All right, yeah, so kicking off this fight, middleweight bout, Bruno Silva, Shara Magomedov. I'm a Bruno Silva fan. Magomedov's got the silhouette. UFC doesn't have any odds going into this one. What do you got on these two gentlemen?
Okay, so Bruno Silva, it's the only guy who's taken Alex Pereira to a decision.
That's right.
Granted, he lost that decision.
Still,
but
though,
he also got
pretty impressive.
He also got clubbed and subbed by Gerald Mearshart, who's obviously going to be another Jim Miller character.
Exactly. Yeah, that's nothing to be too sad about, because he does that to a lot of guys.
Sharabutin Magomedov is a top prospect.
Right, it's his UFC debut.
Yeah. He's super menacing. I don't like, we can't see it in the silhouette, but he has a dead eye.
He's got a sweet silhouette. He's got a dead eye, huh?
He's got a dead eye. He fights with one eye. One eye's like, I don't know, like he had an injury and it's like white. He's very menacing.
Oh shit.
Pretty much all his fights ends in KOs and stuff like that. Very top prospect.
All right, so this is going to be a stand-up fight for sure.
Yeah. So odds on Magomedov is -250.
Oh damn, okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's Bruno Silva. He could upset this, but I don't know, dude. The Bullet Magomedov, I'm gonna go with him. I'm gonna go with him by KO.
Yeah, if he's got a dead eye, I can't go against a dead eye. No freaking way, dude. But
in his topology picture, he has ropes around his hands, like old time kickboxer.
Nice.
Like what's his name?
Van Damme or Kung Lee or
Kung Lee, yeah. So super. Just by that, like that image right there, like I'm all for it. But he's legit. He needs really good. So
okay, yeah. I mean, we got to go with Deadeye in that one, for sure. Good. Moving on, women's strawweight bout. Pretty decent scrap here. Victoria Dudikova, Jinya Frey. I've lost some money on Jinya Frey. I think we both have.
Yeah.
So and then Dudikova's 7-0. You know, I don't think her O is gonna go in this one.
I don't think so. But Victoria Dudikova, like, what is it? Her fight, she's had stoppages in her last fights. But it's because her opponents broke.
Right.
Like her last fight was landed wrong and then arm bent backwards, weird or whatever, popped out.
Right.
Jinya Frey she's not bad. She's
not
good.
bad. It's just hard for me because I've lost money on her. But Jinya Frey's also a decision machine.
Yeah.
Dudikova, she mostly subs, a few KOs, but like you said, one of those is a broken arm TKO.
Yeah. at the negative 500 tag, I wouldn't play anything, and I don't really think she's gonna. Maybe she might knock out Junior Frey, or maybe Junior Frey's fix some things. Like, we don't know.
Wait, who's minus 500? Dudakova's minus 500. Yeah, okay, yeah. I guess I could see that. But yeah, I think that just seems a little suspect. So I think you're right about staying away from that one, betting wise. But just for
Dudakova should win.
Yeah.
But yeah, however you guys want to attack that.
Yeah, don't attack it. Just watch it. Just watch it. Moving on, we got a featherweight bout. Nathaniel Wood, Muhammad Naimov, both coming off wins. I mean, Nate Wood's got like twice the fights of Naimov. Not that necessarily means anything. But again, a decision machine in Nate Wood. We got a KO. You know, Naimov's got mostly KOs on his wins.
Yes.
Both of them have long average fight times. Nate Wood's a minus 310 to a plus 250 in Naimov. What do you think? You think Nate Wood's gonna pull this one, or?
I don't think Nate Wood's gonna pull this one.
I don't think so. I mean, I guess I see why he's the favorite as far as the odds are concerned, but my
talking about trends.
Yeah,
he's 1-1 in Abu Dhabi.
Mm-hmm.
So he fought what is it? Casey Kenny.
Right.
Lost Casey Kenny. He beat John Castaneda in Abu Dhabi. That was like COVID, like Fight Island. But
well, and Naimov's from Tajikistan, so he's just in his backyard right now, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, Naimov hits hard. They both hit hard. But I think Naimov is gonna have something to prove.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. I just I mean, Nate Wood's got the stats, but he's like I said, he's got twice as many fights, so you can't really go off stats.
No, so like Nate Wood, who did he win? He beat Dan Hooker. Who did he beat after that? Let me pull it up on Tapology. So okay. Charles Rosa. So
his last fight was Andre Feely.
Yeah. And that was in London.
Right.
So I mean, the London rub, Charles Jourdain. You know how we feel about Charles Jourdain, and not showing up to fights that he's supposed to win.
Right.
And yeah, I mean Charles Rosa. I mean,
I think my heart's pulling Naimov, just like you said, because I feel like the dude's gonna have something to prove. And he's not like it's a super mismatch. I think just basically based off of just Nathaniel Wood, his amount of fights and just the names that he's fought, obviously gives him the odds favorite. But I think Naimov maybe in a quick, like not a quick KO, but maybe a first round.
He lost to John Dodson, and I think Dodson's like hammer fist, like that dude got stone hands as well. So I think
John Dodson's an animal. Yeah.
So John Dodson took him out. So
right.
I mean, it could be something similar to that. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Naimov, and he's a good sized dog. You know, we need a dog to pick. So
that's right. All right, moving on to the lightweight division. The very rare Indian fighter in the UFC, Anshul Jubilee versus Mike Breeden. Jubilee's undefeated, 7-0. He's tall. He's a 6-foot lightweight, so he's tall for the division. Mike Breeden's kind of turning out to be kind of more of a journeyman type guy. You know what I mean? He's not really impressing you too much. Yeah. He does have a lot of KOs though, so you know that's always a little bit scary when you're talking about betting against somebody like that. But I mean, Jubilee coming in, like I said, got to show out for the India, you know, representing India, because that doesn't happen very often in the UFC. and undefeated. It's in Abu Dhabi, or no, it's in not Abu Dhabi. It's in Fight Island, the United Arab Emirates. Close to home. I'm thinking Jubilee in this one. I don't have the odds. What are the odds on this one?
I'm gonna go opposite. I'm gonna take Reedon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're the boss of the pick, so I'm just talking here. Okay.
So, Jubilee's -310.
Okay.
So, I think Breeden's has the, what is it? The resume. He has the
Right.
experience.
He's coming off a loss, so I guess he's gonna want to do something. Who'd he lose to? What was his last fight? He lost to Terrence McKinney, our boy.
Yeah.
So that's not a terrible loss. But obviously gonna want to get back in the win column. So you're taking him. You're taking Mike Breeden. What is his?
Let me backtrack because I see 3 losses in a row.
Okay.
All 2 knockouts and 1 decision loss.
Because.
All right, Jubilee. Let's see what. All right, I'm gonna pick Flip right now.
What do we got? You're going Jubilee, huh? I mean, he lands 5.69 strikes a minute, so I mean, he's gonna be out there striking big time. I don't know. This might be a stay away bet one, but pick wise, I'm thinking Jubilee. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jubilee. Yeah, those 3 losses, like 3 in a row, really concerned me.
Really made you think twice on old Breeden there.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I just remember the winning fights. I completely didn't consider the Terrence McKinney one.
Yeah. All right. Next up, middleweight bout: Abu Azaitar versus Cedric Dumas. Dumas 8-1, coming off a win. Azaitar 14-3-1, coming off a loss. They don't have the odds on these guys on the UFC page. What do you got there?
So Dumas is -230, Azaitar +190.
And I think this is going to be Dumas trying to keep this thing standing. Azaitar might be trying to take him down.
Yeah, dude. I think Dumas is gonna win. I think Dumas will finish him with the KO.
I think that's what I'm thinking.
Azaitar isn't really active,
right? It is like one of those guys who are like, oh shit, we're back in the Middle East. I got to fight again.
Yeah. Last fight was Marc-Andre Barriault. The fight before that was in 2018, and then it was 2 canceled bouts in between that. So.
Yeah, and Dumas has been fairly active this, up against Azaitar's resume. So, I like your call on a Dumas KO there. Yeah. Next up, bantamweight bout: Javid Basharat versus Victor Henry. Both guys coming off wins. Man, Victor Henry got a big schedule, dude. He a big record, 23-6. I didn't realize he had so many fights.
Yeah.
But we know Basharat 14-0, baby. The big Afghani bad boy there in the bantamweight division. I did Basharat all the way on this one for me.
For sure, dude. The Basharat train, both brothers.
Both Basharat brothers kick ass. But again, no odds on the UFC page on this one. He's got to be a big favorite, I'd imagine.
Yeah, dude. Basharat's -575.
All right, there you go.
Victor Henry, Victor Henry coming off a Contender Series, very good. But
he's not on Basharat's level, dude. Obviously, money line for Basharat ain't gonna make anything, so I would definitely bet on a finish. Maybe throw a little money on a sub finish for Basharat, dude.
That's true. What is it? Either he wins, like he barely has any knockout stuff. He has a couple submissions, but majority like UFC level wise fights for Victor Henry are when he wins it's 2 decisions. So like once he stepped up in competition,
his average UFC fight time is 15 minutes. So there you go. He's not finishing, especially not finishing Basharat.
No.
But yeah, I would sprinkle a little money on a Basharat finish. You know,
within the distance.
Within the distance, that's right. Within the distance on Basharat on that one for sure. Yeah. Moving on, lightweight division. We got Muhammad Yahya. Love it when we get Yahya's in here. This guy's fighting out of the UAE, so this is a hometown boy right here. Fighting Trevor Peek. It's Yahya's debut in the UFC. Trevor Peek 8-1, coming off a loss. I feel like they're giving Muhammad Yahya a win. Not giving him a win, but like giving him a fight that he could definitely win in his debut in his home country.
I'm not sure because Trevor Peek's record, like Mike Breeden, it's like all KOs.
I mean, he is 8-1, but I guess we'll find out if the UAE rub is as good as the London rub, dude. Because
yeah. So, United Arabs, like I mentioned, my buddy Carl goes up every once in a while and does like Muay Thai training there. And so like they have this big program that they bring in fighters or they bring in coaches to train, their up and coming prospects.
Yeah. You're right, man. Freaking Peak's got 100% KO average. But I mean, what kind of fighter is Yahya? Is he a stand-up fighter?
Yeah, he's mostly stand-up. He has a couple submissions. Was the ones that stand out to me, like, he has an arm triangle, KO, a Darce, rear naked choke. But more, like, those are the only 3 submissions he has. The rest of them are all KOs mixed in with some decisions.
Right.
So, yeah, stand-up fighter, majority. Probably has a decent ground game or jiu-jitsu game because like jiu-jitsu is really big up in Abu Dhabi and all that.
Yeah.
But the Arab Emirates. And I think I'm gonna go with Peak.
You're gonna go with Peak on this one?
Yeah, just with
just that KO, that 100% KO action in the UFC. I can't argue with you because Muhammad's got the silhouette. So what do we don't know nothing. All right, your featured bout on the prelims. This one is gonna be a bangeranger in the flyweight division. Tim Elliott, Muhammad Mokaev. I mean, Mokayev's most likely gonna win this freaking fight, but it should be a good ass scrap if nothing else.
Yeah,
I mean, Tim Elliott is a freaking. Just as game, he's like the little version of Tim Means, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? He's just like he just never stops. Just kind of as soon as you count him out, he screws your parlay. But Mokaev, freaking 10-0. Every one of his fights have been a literal destruction. You can't. You'd be dumb to kind of bet against him. So it's like you either bet for him or leave him out.
Well, even like the last fight that he was in, like he had his leg like wrapped up, like almost like destroyed it, and then still finished, dude.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Freaking nuts, man.
So it's not like he hasn't been tested. I mean, there's these guys that have O's on their record that have never been tested. So there's always like that little bit of a question mark of like, well, what happened? What's going to happen when they get into trouble? Well, like you said, Mokaev almost had his damn leg ripped off.
Yeah.
And he still finished his opponent. So I definitely see him probably finishing Tim Elliott.
I would say Tim Elliott, Kevin Kroom, like if we all know like the whole MMA news thing is that Kevin Kroom like was banging Tim Elliott's wife.
Right. I was reading the article about that. And he's
fighting in BKFC.
And
so
Tim Elliott
Kroom wins.
Yeah. Tim Elliott's cornering the guy that's fighting him.
Yeah. And sponsoring him, like putting his own money. So like, I mean, if Kevin Kroom wins, he's not going to be very excited to go in and fight Mokai.
All right, because BKFC's on Friday, right?
I think Friday, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, man, keep your eye on that BKFC Kevin Kroom result, because if Kevin Kroom wins, put all your money on Mokaev.
Yeah.
Which you should probably do anyways. What the fuck am I talking about? So that one's gonna be a great fight. ESPN Plus on the prelims. Make sure you watch that one if you don't watch any of the other prelims. Main card time, buddy. We're getting in. This is Russia, baby. Russia. That's my Trump impression. Dude, all right. Said Nurmagomedov versus Muin Gafurov. Both guys coming off losses. Both should be given some better barber advice. But Said is minus 185 to a plus 154 on Gafurov. I mean, it's always hard to go against that Nurmagomedov name. But Gafurov, he likes to fucking strike, dude. And Said's a decision machine. So I don't know, but again, Gafurov's UFC average fight time is 15 minutes, so all his UFC fights have been decisions. So
yeah, so Gafurov, like, he has power. He's very he goes in for the kill, and like one of those things, if that doesn't happen, it's very tough for him to win after that.
Right.
So I think with, like,
and Nurmagomedov definitely can withstand an early barrage to then just wrestle the shit out of you for the rest of the 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. And then there's like, these cards are tailored to all the Russian fighters.
Yeah.
So, Said, like, what was his last loss? Was Jonathan Martinez. And Jonathan Martinez just won. Okay, speaking about Jonathan Martinez, really quick side note is that I picked Adrian Yanez to win over Jonathan Martinez.
Right.
And I mentioned how Jonathan Martinez doesn't finish, like, his fight IQ, even though he has this dude's legs absolutely destroyed. We'll take it to a decision.
Right.
He let Yanez stand up and got the finish. Yeah. Which I'm so glad to see, because honestly, it's like an improvement for him. So
right.
But judging on that fight, like the loss to Jonathan Martinez and Jonathan Martinez's last win, that's a pretty good loss to have on your record.
And Gafurov's loss is to Castaneda. So it's not. I
don't like Castaneda.
No, that's what I'm saying. His loss is a lot more less impressive than Nurmagomedov's loss. You know what I mean? So, I mean, got to go Said on this one.
Yeah.
Next up, Ikram Aliskerov versus Warley Alves. I didn't even know Warley Alves was still in the UFC. I don't know why. I haven't heard that name in a while. Yeah. But why isn't the freaking page isn't opening for them? But middleweight bout on these guys. What do you think,
dude? Come on, man. I'm going with Aliskerov, man.
Of course. I mean, there's really no reason not to. Like, we need to just do a freaking Russia parlay in this fight card, pretty much.
The OV parlay, or anybody it's Ov and Ev.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, the big V parlay. I think they're just feeding Warley Alves to a wolf in this fight, and I think it's gonna happen. Just Aliskerov's gonna mop him up probably pretty quickly.
For sure, man.
Okay, now let's just move on to the next one, because the next one's super exciting, and that is light heavyweight bout Magomed Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker. What a freaking banger this one's gonna be!
Fuck yeah, dude.
Good Lord, this is going to be a good one, especially Ankalaev coming off that draw. Nobody likes to draw.
No.
He's going to come out straight trying to eat, and Johnny Walker, is going to come out just swinging because he doesn't know how else to fight. And obviously it took him a couple years to recover from that worm injury, but he's definitely seems like he's righted the ship. Johnny Walker has. What do you think about this? I mean, gosh, I mean, my brain says Ankalaev, but my just kind of, I got a little bit of a soft spot for Johnny Walker. Kind of just wants him to sleep him, and that would just be that would be insane. If that happened.
I'm right with you with those thoughts.
You know what I mean? Like your analytical brain says, okay, Ankalaev more well-rounded, just kind of in a better place. I don't know, should win the fight, but Johnny Walker just might come out there and just light him on fire, dude.
Yeah, talking about overall excitement,
right?
Like Ankalaev's not, he's good, but like it doesn't look good. Portraying on the TV, like you're just like, come on, another. And
the thing is, but he is a good opponent for an exciting fighter because he will take part in an exciting fight. You know what I'm saying? Like whether it's getting punched a lot or whether it's like Rock'em Sock'em Robots, like we're gonna see some fireworks really quickly in this fight.
Yeah, this is one fight where I can see an upset. And
I know I'm definitely gonna have to sprinkle a little on the Johnny Walker KO upset.
Yeah, I
just spoiling our Russia parlay. That's what's gonna happen.
I like them both, but like honestly, I'm probably kind of going for Johnny Walker.
I know that's what I'm saying. He's gonna be the guy to spoil our Russia parlay, dude. Like. He's gonna be the guy to do it. That parlay is gonna be lit all the way till this fight, and then Johnny Walker's gonna put it to sleep. But yeah, I mean, I'm freaking jacked for this fight. This fight is gonna be a good one. And honestly, I forgot it was on this card until I looked at it earlier today when I was looking at shit for the podcast, and I was like, oh shit, like because with all the stuff going on with the two main fights, they kind of got overshadowed, and then I was going through the card, and I was like. Oh my God! Like this, I mean, this could be a main event on a UFC fight card easily.
Yeah.
So we're in for a treat on this one. I'll let you wait till you give out your official picks. I won't make you. I won't make you put anything in stone right now. But all I know is, even if Magomed's gonna be in our parlay as the smart pick, Johnny Walker's getting a KO prop for me.
Yeah. The same. I think this is a good head,
Has to. All right, dude. Co-main event time. Middleweight bout. Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev, dude. Khamzat hasn't fought in a while, dude, and it's one of those guys where you're always ready. You're like, when's he gonna fight? When's he gonna fight? Yeah. Like, there's not many fighters across the history of the UFC where the anticipation, even when they don't have a fight set up, you're just like, when's it gonna happen? When's it gonna happen? You know what I mean? And like, especially his last fight, the Nate Diaz thing was just like, or no, it wasn't Nate Diaz. It was what's his face. It was
no, it was Nate Diaz.
Oh no, it was Nate Diaz. Duh, it was that card that had all the flip flopping.
Yeah, and he ended up not fighting because Nate.
Right.
Yeah. Being the superstar as he is, said fuck that.
Yeah.
And fought Tony.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh no, he did. He fought Kevin Holland.
No, that's what it was. It was Kevin Holland, and he tapped him out super fast. But this fight is just a fight that you never thought you were gonna like. Never in a million years when you're like, let's decide who could Chimaev fight. Like, would you have ever thrown Kamaru Usman's name into the bucket? Never.
Well, honestly, Khamzat and Usman were both in the same weight class prior.
Well, sure, like they're both welterweights, but like Khamzat like he's fought both, you know what I mean? So it is what it is on that one. Kamaru, obviously welterweight champion, and like just I knew that he was, we knew he might be going up and things like that, but it was like just I would have never thought this fight. Like, this is like fight-agami. Like, I would have never like, you give me one like
fight bingo. Yeah.
You just would have never picked these two fight names out of a hat and said, oh yeah, these guys are definitely going to fight each other. But they are. I mean, what do we even think about this one, dude? Like,
my main concern is how much damage can Usman take? Because that first round is going to be freaking nuts.
It's going to be nuts. We know he's got, quote unquote, some weak legs. His knees are bad. You know what I mean? He's not shy about talking about how fucked up his knees are. Yeah.
So if it's, we've seen his takedown defense, but we haven't seen him against someone as aggressive as Khamzat.
Right.
We don't see any we've never seen submission attempts from Kamaru Usman.
Right, never.
Maybe like in his early career, but nothing like championship wise. So like once it gets to the ground, I don't see anything that Kamaru has to offer than just probably the ability to get back up.
Right. Well, and now my thing on this is like it's kind of all about testing Khamzat, right? Because like you keep feeding him different people and he just keeps mopping the floor with everybody. He's like, we talked about one of those guys where it's just like, okay, when's he gonna get a test? When's he gonna get a real test? When's he gonna get a real test? And when you watch him fight guys, and granted this is at middleweight, but he's fighting a welterweight, you know what I mean? And so but Usman, we know that he's strong. He's strong like bull. He's strong as hell. So probably the strongest guy Khamzat's fought yet. So I guess wrestling-wise, defense-wise, just friction-wise, it's going to be his strong, the strongest fighter he's fought yet. So we'll get to maybe just see kind of, if he ragdolls and just humiliates Usman, then, I mean, what are we talking about? Like, just give him the belt.
Yeah, just give him the belt.
Because Sean Strickland's gonna have nothing for him, dude. Like, it's just
I the only thing I see, like, they have power for power, but like I was like, Khamzat's so much bigger. He has reach.
What was Strickland?
No,
with Usman.
With Usman.
Right.
So, I've been racking my brain about this fight since it's been announced, trying to figure out like where Usman has something. Like, he does have a power advantage, but he's not as fast.
And again, like Khamzat, he don't fuck around. So if he feels like you might have the power edge on him, he's gonna just wrestle you and annihilate you. And like you said, it's like once it gets to the ground and Usman is flattened out. We've never seen anybody really flatten out Usman. We've seen him get taken down and get back up, and he's a good wrestler and all that stuff. And strength for strength, he can probably go strength for strength with Khamzat. But once he is in a weakened position on the ground, once he's flattened out, once he's in a vulnerable position, like, what's he going to do? Like, that is where Khamzat has never been tested. You know what I mean? Like, I'm excited to watch this fight because, like I said, it's a fight that I never thought, just never came into my line of sight that we'd actually see it. And it is a former champion in a weight class that Khamzat also fights in. So, like, it's extremely interesting. But it's more interesting to me of, like, can Khamzat ragdoll Usman too? Like, can he do it?
Yeah.
Is he really invincible? Like, holy, like, because like if Usman puts up a fight, takes it to decision, like makes Khamzat look human, it makes the whole Khamzat scenario much less exciting. And I don't want that because Usman's on his way, not necessarily on his way out, but he's crested. He's on the back end of his career. You know what I mean? He's crescendoed. He's crescendoed already. You know what I mean? And like Khamzat's still on that way up. And he's still invisible. He's still invincible. He's still the boogeyman. And if he can do that to Usman, then you're like, okay, he's 100% for real. You know what I mean? Like, making Kevin Holland look stupid isn't that impressive. Even though Kevin Holland's a great fighter, he's still Kevin Holland. You know what I mean? So But if he can do what he's done to everybody else to Kamaru Usman, that just makes him. It's pretty crazy.
I would feel like him versus Gilbert Burns, that could be happening again, but I don't think for very long. I think Usman probably has a round and a half in its gas tank.
Right.
For being such a short notice fight.
That too, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So I'm gonna ride the train, dude. Kamzat within the distance, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
I think that is definitely a smart bet. On to the main event, dude. This might be where we get to make some money. Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski, champ versus champ, and Volkanovski is a plus 270 dog in a rematch where he arguably might have won the first match.
Yeah.
I mean, you could win some money on Volkanovski in this one. What you think this is going to be a carbon copy of the last fight?
No, I don't think it's going to be a carbon copy.
What do you think's going to what's going to be different?
I mostly think the fight will finish.
Oh, okay.
But here's the curveball that we got. So we got Volkanovski coming off of a surgery on his arm. It was something that he couldn't extend it. So like me researching, he hasn't been like really vocal about what he did with this thing, but I think it's like a elbow extensor surgery.
Okay.
Minimum rehab time is 6 weeks. So it's like 6 to like a year.
Mm-hmm.
So he's saying like, in 6 weeks I'm gonna be good. When doctors tell you when you go through a surgery like that, like 6 weeks of recovery and then you can do normal things, fighting is not normal.
Hey man, we're living in a world where 6 weeks ago, Aaron Rodgers popped his Achilles tendon and he was throwing passes with no crutches on the sidelines this week. So,
are you freaking serious?
Yeah, dude. He got some experimental bridge, something called a bridge surgery and he was literally no crutches throwing passes during warm-ups of the Jets game on Sunday. So, like, we're living in that world, dude. So, like, injuries are open-ended to me these days. Like, depending on your doctor, depending on your surgeon, depending on your recovery, depending on your genetics, depending on your supplements, who the fuck knows, dude? And
they probably repaired his tendons with like foreskins or something like that from babies. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, he didn't get vaxxed, so he's ahead of all of us. He doesn't have the vaccine holding him back. No, but back to Volkanovski, to what I said at the beginning of the show is like, I don't think he'd take this fight if he didn't, you know, I guess it's just fighter mindset. You always think you can win, right? Maybe that gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah.
But he just seems too smart for that in a world where he could get this rematch on a full camp, fully healed down the road. Maybe even in 6 months. You know what I mean? After Makhachev, After Makhachev beats Oliveira, he beats Topuria, they fight again. You know what I mean? In the middle of next year or some shit. Like, he could. This was happening. This rematch was going to happen no matter what.
Yes, it was.
So in my mind, I'm just like, if he wasn't, like, didn't think he was 100% in a position that he could win this fight, why the fuck would he take it? You know what I mean? But fighters do crazy shit. So
yeah, I mean, well, dude, Volkanovski had success in the later rounds. Like, he actually dropped Makhachev.
Right.
Makhachev's only loss in the UFC was him being knocked out. So I think that is
Is that the finish you're talking about?
The finish, yeah. No.
Oh, like, are we betting on a Volkanovski KO?
I'm going the opposite way.
Makhachev submission or Makhachev KO?
Yeah.
Like a TKO, like a ground and pound situation, or just straight up, or a stand up KO? What do you?
I'm thinking more like a leg kick to.
Okay. All right.
Thinking more something to start with leg kicks because
like an accumulation KO, not
accumulation,
yeah. Damn, this is gonna be a good one.
just like Usman, like this is a 5-round fight. Volkanovski does have amazing cardio, but on 10 days notice, I'm not sure. I think he's gonna go balls out. Like, hey, like the mindset of like, what do you got to lose? Like, right?
Yeah.
Short notice fight.
But that's the thing in my head, in my pragmatic head. I'm like, there is something to lose this time around because you would have got this fight not that long from now on a full camp, fully healed. So it's like you do have something to lose because you're not going to get a third one. Like,
Yeah.
like that's my thing. But again,
Yeah, like would it be like, so like let's say Volkanovski does lose and they lose to Ilia Topuria, like that's pretty, like he's taking like a really big gamble right here.
right?
And I think Ilia Topuria is going to be like a really rough fight for Volkanovski.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Makhachev learned a lot from Volkanovski, as Volkanovski learned a lot from Makhachev.
Right.
And I think like the aggression, I think Makhachev is gonna like have an answer for that this time.
Yeah, and I think probably like you said, because it is on 10 days notice. Who knows where the cardio is at or whatever for Volkanovski? If you want to talk about it that way, he's gonna come out, shot out of a cannon.
But hey, the Volk KO is still on the table. Like that can still happen.
Sprinkle a
right?
little bit. Sprinkle a little bit on that one. I can't not do it at a freaking plus 270.
But the main thing to pick is that it's not going to go the distance this time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Volkanovski's landing 168 strikes like he did last time.
But what if he does? That'll be insane.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Yeah.
The Volk man is otherworldly, but so is Makhachev. So I mean, no matter what, the top 3 fights on this card are gonna be all have like any of them could be fight of the night, any of them could be finish of the night, any of them could be candidates for fight of the year. Like, it's gonna be good, dude. Like, or at least KO of the year, because like I don't know about fight of the year. That's a little much.
I mean,
but
it's what is it? How do you say it? They're different enough that it's not going to be like a hug fest or whatever, or like
nope,
laying on the ground.
I don't think none of these fights are going to be like that. Even if like you say, even if like Usman and Hamzat turns into a straight grappling match, it's going to be an exciting ass grappling match because to see how Usman, what he can do against Hamzat and what Hamzat is going to do against a strong ass dude who is a former champion with tons of experience, who hasn't had a 3-round fight in like 6 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's
honestly, if you look at Kamaru Usman getting taken down by Leon Edwards, like the way he got back up was not as quick as someone as a decorated wrestler as you would think. So, dude, I'm just saying, like, if Usman does get to the ground and Hamzat's on top, I think it's over.
Oh, I do too. Like I said, the brain up here tells me it's going to be over, but my heart and just my love for just questions of guys like Hamzat who are just seem unstoppable. It's just I can't wait to see the answer to that Hamzat question that we haven't seen yet. A guy, you're not going to get a guy who's any more game than Kamaru Usman. You know what I mean? Obviously, he was a champ for a long-ass time for a reason, right? Whether you think he's on the back end, whether you think he's washed, whatever you think about him, you're not going to find a guy that's more game than him. So it's like this is going to be a big question for Hamzat, and he may mop the floor with him, and that would be a fantastic outcome just in the whole landscape of everything. But I can't wait to see Hamzat answer the questions. Yeah. All right, dude. Oh, God, this is going to be a good weekend. Good Saturday morning, I should say.
Saturday morning,
But
we're going to be done full of
I might have to
at like 5 p.m.
I might have to cancel my haircut because I get my haircut every other Saturday morning, and it happens to be on this Saturday morning. So,
God,
haircuts getting canceled. Sorry. But, all right, dude. Another show in the books. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Make sure you tune into this, whether you got to get it in unscrupulous non-paying ways. Make sure you watch these fights. If nothing else, the main event, co-main, and that Johnny Walker and Kylev fight. Oh, it's gonna be fantastic. Fireworks all over the place. Betalytics, go check them out. League Swipe, go check them out. Bonfire.com/store/Peak1Sports. Go check it out. And enjoy the fights.
Really quick.
Oh yeah.
We are 63% in picks.
Oh yeah, we didn't even go over it.
Yeah, there's people who, even though we did pretty poorly last.
We didn't go over that. We got straight into the drug talk.
We'll have more picks for this fight card, but there are people charging that do 63% in return on picks.
Oh yeah,
and we're giving it to you for free. So like, all we ask you guys to do is just
support
and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Give us the subs.
Tell your friends to stop paying those people and listen to us.
Listen to us. Exactly. I mean, that's across the entire sports landscape. Being over 60% is an extremely successful pick giver. Whether it's football, basketball, any of that shit. Look it up. It doesn't seem like much when you're thinking, "Oh, I want to be 100%." Nobody is. The best guys in the world at sports betting are in the 60 percentile, and with MMA specifically, that is even more impressive because it is. We say it all the time. We said it last week. It is a hard sport to pick. 63% is charge worthy, and like Alexis said, we're not charging you for it. We just want your subscription to the YouTube Peak One Sports at YouTube. Go there, like, subscribe, follow us on social media. I'll say it again. Enjoy the fights.
Yes.